Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Astana Al Maikia with a presentation of Shakespeare's sonnets. This is Muhammad Ibrahim Khokhar presenting before you the sonnet number 4 of Shakespeare. Let me tell you that Shakespeare's sonnet number 4 is considered as the continuity of sonnet number 1, sonnet number 2 and sonnet number 6. In these sonnets, Shakespeare urges his supposed hero to procreate and indulge in sex so that procreation may continue. I will be reciting sonnet first and then we will be trying to explain it. Shakespeare in sonnet number 4 says, "Unthiftly loveliness, why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy? Unthiftly loveliness, why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy? Nature's bequest gives nothing but doth lend, and being frank, she lends to those who are free. Then, beauteous niggard, why dost thou abuse the bounteous largesse given thee to give? Profitless usurer, why dost thou use so great a sum of sums, yet canst not live? For having traffic with thyself alone, thou of thyself thy sweet self dost deceive. Then how when nature calls thee to be gone, what acceptable audit canst thou leave?" And the final couplet of Shakespeare that is always remarkable: "Thy unused beauty must be tomed with thee. Thy unused beauty must be tomed with thee, which used lived the executor to be." Ladies and gentlemen, in this sonnet, once again, Shakespeare invites and invokes fair youth to procreate, but with a wonderful style. He says that, "Unthiftly loveliness, why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy?" That when you have been endowed with a gift, when you have been endowed with a talent, when you have been endowed with special qualities, and when you are mature enough to procreate, why are you wasting your energies? Why don't you procreate? Why don't you transfer your beauty, your talent, and your hidden potential to the next generation? Shakespeare then gives the example that nature's bequest gives nothing but doth lend, and being frank, she lends to those who are free. Shakespeare says that your talent and your worth is granted to you by nature, and nature has bestowed upon you these qualities, and then nature never bestows something free. It always requires in return, and in return, what do we expect? That we may spend that talent, we may take further those potentials for the next generation. Then Shakespeare once again addresses the fair youth that, "Then, beauteous niggard, why dost thou abuse the bounteous largesse given thee to give?" That when nature has given you the talent and the potential, why do you restrict it to yourself alone? Why don't you share it to the world? Why don't you procreate and transfer your talent and potential so that it may continue for the other generation, for the next generations? And Shakespeare says, "Profitless usurer, why dost thou use so great a sum of sums, yet canst not live?" That if you will not use your talent, if you will not transfer your talent will die with yourself. It is not supposed to live forever, because man has to pass to nothingness. One day everyone has to die. And if you will die without transferring your talent and potential to the next generation, your talent will die with yourself. So Shakespeare terms it as a profitless usurer, one who usurps the talent. And then Shakespeare says, "For having traffic with thyself alone." And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that from this point, if we analyze properly, we find the traces of masturbation, because Shakespeare says that why you are wasting your beauty in yourself alone. So in other words, it seems that when fair youth is not interested in marriage, he is not interested in procreation, means he is wasting his talent on himself alone. So we may find the traces of masturbation in Shakespeare. How great and how loving Shakespeare is, that he talks about that a special movement and feeling that is general common, and this is not a new term here. But Shakespeare beautifully says that for having traffic with thyself alone, though of thyself thy sweet self dost deceive. But Shakespeare doesn't admire it. He says that you are deceiving yourself by doing this practice, by doing this, and by not procreating it, and by not marrying to a beautiful woman so that your talent may pass. You are deceiving none other but yourself alone. And then Shakespeare says, then how when nature casts thee to be gone, what acceptable audit canst thou leave? And Shakespeare wants that when nature will get answer of all these things, because nature will never forgive you the talent that nature has provided you. The nature will one day ask audit of it. It may ask that what you did with the talent that was provided to you by the nature. So Shakespeare says that you will feel shame when nature will be taking audit of all the potential that it has bestowed upon that fair youth. And then finally, the final last couplet, Shakespeare says, the unused beauty must be tomed with thee. If you will not transfer your talent, if you will not transfer your beauty, if you will not transfer your potential to the next generation, if you will not procreate, your entire talent, your entire beauty, your entire qualities, your entire goodness will be tomed, will be buried with you. It will not be transferred to the next generation. It will be buried with you, which used live the executor to be. Shakespeare says that it needs executor. It needs an agent through which it may be continued for the humanity. Because the entire goodness of humanity is to be passed through generation to generation. The talent, the worth, the manliness, the good qualities, the potential that the nature has bestowed upon us, it is our responsibility that we may transfer it to the next generation so that the goodness of earth may continue. And if we will limit it to ourselves alone, it will be buried with us when we will die. So Shakespeare is of the opinion that all qualities must pass on the future generation. With this beautiful explanation and with this beautiful sonnet by Shakespeare, I suggest you all to keep on watching our channel, where we'll be presenting you more videos of literature. Thank you.